All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's transfer over to what I consider still to be the best division in all of football. And this is actually quite interesting because my Philadelphia Eagles are facing Couch Coach's Washington Commanders. And then the Monday Night Football match features Jake Malik's New York Giants against Megan Price's
Hold on.
Dallas Cowboys.
Eric, that is your first place New York Football Giants. We're tied, but we're first place still. So I want you to
Okay,
know
but
that.
who did y'all play the first 2 weeks, Jake? Calm down.
Hey.
Calm down.
Hey,
Calm
you can
down.
only play who's on your
Tennessee's
schedule.
struggling. Tennessee
Hey.
is struggling,
Look.
and y'all played the Panthers last week.
Just
Calm
don't be upset
down.
when we beat you this week. That's all.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh, I love this. This is awesome. All right, so listen, there's really no point in us just being on screen by ourselves because we're going up against each other. So, I mean, I'll go ladies first since it is the Monday night matchup. And you know what, Megan, you and Jake can have your fun and do what you do. So I'm gonna let the
Okay.
two of you go at it. Me and Couch Coach are gonna sit back because I want to see how this plays out.
Megan's first.
Okay,
All you.
cool. Okay. Well, as you guys know, we got the Monday Night Football primetime game. And despite what both of our teams kind of going through some woes, the Giants for about a decade. I expect a good matchup. It's divisional, so I expect a good matchup. I think one of the main key factors for Dallas to win is going to be defense. And luckily, our defense is looking pretty good. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks in the first 2 games. And against Cincinnati, he had 5 pressures and 4 tackles. Daniel Jones was sacked 3 times and had 9 QB hits. So your O-line kind of struggled a little bit, Jake. Also for Dallas, Dorrance Armstrong stood out. He had 2 sacks, 4 pressures, and 2 tackles. And then Dallas's pass rush also had 6 sacks and 9 QB hits. So I think defense is going to be huge for us. Yeah. Jake, you want to go ahead and kind of retort a little bit?
No, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I think, look, both defenses have actually played pretty well. I mean, look, you play more difficult opponents, and I give you that. There's no doubt about that. But I think both defenses on the season have been pretty solid. The Giants had 2 sacks last week. I was very happy to see that. And they're still without our 2 best pass rushers. The real question is when those guys come back, being Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau, if they come back, what is the difference they're going to make? I'm hoping they come back sooner rather than later. I'd love, at the very least, Thibodeau to be back this week. He keeps saying he's ready. He's almost there. I just want to see him get on the field because he's a difference maker. That's going to be the biggest thing because both of our offenses don't look particularly amazing.
Right.
With a backup quarterback for you, it's difficult. And let's just call it what it is. Daniel Jones basically is a backup quarterback. Right. Offenses don't look great. So it's going to be whose defense plays better. I give you guys the advantage, but then again, the Giants continue to pull out wins out of thin air. So
True.
I
do think home field is going to be an advantage for you guys. Yep. So I definitely give a nod to that. Also I feel like the 1-2 punch with Tony Pollard and Zeke, if Zeke's not doing well, it seems like Pollard comes through. Like last week, Pollard did pretty well. And even though Trayvon Diggs didn't necessarily have any picks in the last couple of games, he played really well last week. So there wasn't quite as much criticism. AB, he was trash. Get him off my team. I maintain this all the time. There's a petition going around. It's on my page. Get him off my team.
Hey, at least you're honest about it.
Right. And then Saquon kind of cooled off last week for you guys. So wondering if he can kind of pick up the speed again. Our rush defense held Mixon last week to 57 yards. So I think that for us, like I said, defense, it's going to be a very defensive game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. Now we did hold Baker to 145 yards, and that sounds very familiar for you guys. Or you guys held them to 145 yards. Sorry. But also Daniel Jones has not had 200 yards yet. So the offenses are going to look good, I think. And then the final difference maker for us and what's going to
finally, I'm like waiting. I'm like, is she going? I'm like, I know she's trying to get her Dallas talk in. I'm like, are you done?
Sorry. Okay, the final difference maker is going to be our kicker. That's right, Brett Maher. He had 8 points last week. That's going to be that difference maker. Who's y'all's kicker?
Graham Gano, and he had all our points last week.
Okay.
Not literally speaking, but
right.
we scored 19 points. We threw for we had one touchdown.
Right, that's right.
One passing touchdown. So he scored basically all the points. All right.
Man, okay, so our offenses just mirror each other, basically.
We're moving on from the two of you. Let's get to the better game in our division, which is the 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles going up against our former quarterback, Carson Wentz, and the Washington Commanders. Couch Coach, I know you've been chomping at the bit. I just have one question before we get started. Did y'all fix, the barricade so that we don't have anybody falling over this time at the end of the game and almost injuring my quarterback?
Yes, I think we have. I think I've checked with Brown's crew, and I think you're all set. So when you Eagles guys want to lean in, we got you safe. I think the zip ties. I think we secured it more than just zip ties this time. So you should be straight. But
brother, talk to me about this matchup, man, because this is truly it's Carson Wentz versus Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and my whole defense that at one point in time we were all together and won ourselves a championship. But I'll let you go ahead start since you're the home team.
Yeah, so like you said, this is obviously somewhat of a revenge game for Carson Wentz. Eric, your trash is now my treasure in Carson Wentz. So we got him at this point. The biggest concern for me has got to be our defense. I think this is a simple fact of considering the fact that we've given up 404 yards in these on average, not in 2 games, but in 2 games, the average is 400 yards of total offense, and then 6.6 yards per play, which you got playmakers on multiple sides for the Eagles. You got a 2-head running attack, also with your wide receivers as well. So, it's
3.
Well,
it's 3. I'm sorry. I'm throwing Gainwell in that conversation, and we could go 4 deep. Because if Jalen gets out and starts running, he's my quarterback all day long, but he can use them legs.
And as you can tell, even with us, sometimes the 3rd string, 4th string, option on other teams have beaten us as well. So that's one of the things. And I think the biggest key for not Dallas, but for Washington is essentially eliminate the big plays. And I think if we can eliminate those big plays and actually get somewhat of a lead on you guys and lead and have this tempo, we have a great chance to win this game. I think one of the key things is our wide receiver core. I think obviously big play Slay, I acknowledge that. But in the same token, I think he could potentially bottle Terry up. But so now this is going to be a game where you look at Curtis Samuel will probably pick up the load. Maybe Jahan Dotson once again scores. So I look at that's kind of one of the key matches I think that we can really kind of take advantage of.
When I look at this matchup, here's the name that you didn't mention that always seems to be a proverbial thorn in our side, and that's your tight end, Logan Thomas. He's the guy who I'm paying attention to. If I'm our defense, I'm looking at my defense and I'm saying, I understand McLaurin's going to get his. I understand that Antonio Gibson's going to get his, and Dotson's going to try and, weave his way in and out. But Logan Thomas, I think sometimes our defense neglects, because we have a guy on our side in Dallas Goedert who matches up tight end. That just seems to have those two guys kind of neutralize each other, because defenses sometimes play to them, but sometimes y'all forget about them. But now with the addition of A.J. Brown and we got Devontae Smith, like I said, we've got the 3-headed running back committee in Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Kenneth Gainwell. We have the weapons. So what I've been preaching all season long is it's been about Jalen. What can Jalen do? And listen, in 2 weeks, Jalen, these are his numbers: 44 for 63, 576, 1 touchdown, 1 interception with a 97 passer rating. I'm sorry, that was just what he did on Monday night. Okay? So, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, as I say, when I play the Giants or when we play Dallas, it is a divisional game. You throw the rule book, the playbook, and everything else out the window, because the unexpected becomes the probability becomes the possibility. And as much as I know Carson's going to want to go out there and, beat us, I think he's going to try and do too much. If he can maintain focused, then it's going to be a game regardless. But these two games, we're all watching because it separates our seeds and where we're going. Much love to the three of you so much. Thank y'all for being on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel Season 3. I will see all of y'all next week, where Jake and I will still be undefeated. Everyone have a good night. Thank y'all very much.
I like the optimism.